memories of music and football will forever be carried in the mind of Shaka Mayanja while at Budo Junior, King's College Budo, and Makerere College schools, for his calling had bent to his control. Over 600 songs in 12 reggae albums, songs like Rasta Wange, Onsonyiwe Nyabo, Tuleke Twerire Obulo Bwaffe, Bloodshed in Africa, Jane Onsonyiwe, and Gonda Mukwano ruled the reggae LP records and reggae listening circles in the 90s within the country. You are watching People and Power. This episode belongs to Shaka Mayanja, who is a big treasure and whose case has been full of precious stones, I would say, that have roots in reggae music, music production, and music promotion. Without his input, probably one would say Uganda's music growth wouldn't have prospered in one way or another. On Twitter, the hashtag is NBS People and Power at Mebo Twegumye. So please keep tweeting and retweeting as the show continues. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Now, music promotion. When you make a statement like you started out at 13 doing music promotion, what does that even mean?
Yeah, 13 is, I think I was in P7 when we did a concert at school, you know. And then in King's, when I was in S4, we brought Outbreak to the school, you know. Timothy Kabali, who was a huge mentor of mine, Timothy Kabali Kagwa, and that whole group, they had a band which was the youth band at the time, you know. Brought them to King's College for a show, people paying to come in, 89. Then when I went to S5 at college school, I did the same thing with Mixed Talents and Big Five.
Those were other bands.
You know, and I was still in school.
Yeah.
So I started promoting at that age.
So how does it become a big, I would say, I don't want to call it investment because you said you didn't look at it as a trade anyway. But when do you start to explore the rest of the country, and then you start even doing it internationally?
I think it was 92. By then, a friend of mine, Yona Apakabula, who passed on, I was doing shows, the local shows, my own shows. And we were talking reggae. So when he came from England, he came with a lot of reggae music, stuff I'd not had before. Even when I was writing reggae then, it was only pretty much Wailers that we were listening to, maybe Lucky Dube. The first person I think I met who gave me a different perspective was a guy called, I think was called Michael, I think, Chivuka. Was the son of the late Paulo Mwanga.
Wow.
He used to live in England. So when he came for holidays, we used to hang out with the Alex Ndaulas at Nile Grill, Uganda House. So he came and gave me a cassette and told me, listen to this stuff. And it was still Pulse. This is reggae. We'd never had that level of, you know, Handsworth Revolution. I still have that cassette. Then Yona came from England from cricket training with a lot of reggae, different artists. Freddie McGregor, Burning Spear, Black Uhuru, all these people had not, you know, really listened to before. So I actually wrote a letter to Freddie McGregor through the post office.
You did?
Yeah, handwritten. Well, there was no other way.
What did you say?
I told him about reggae, to come to Uganda, blah, blah, blah. 1992, sent that letter, never got a reply. Then in 92, I met, I'd already seen him. He was a DJ already at campus and making a name, Soul Disco. So one time I was going for training. He was a goalkeeper too, because I was crazy about football. He was driving this car going to training at the Lumumba pitch, Makerere pitch. You know, everybody, we as kids surrounded the car, top DJ, you know. That was the first time I saw him. Then I said, let me go and check out this guy. So I visited him at Soul Disco office, which was in Pala House. So he said, let's go for lunch. So we went to KCC. KCC had a restaurant on top. So I told him about promoting music. This is 92, I think. We talked about it. I told him Freddie McGregor, and you know, and then it stayed there. Then 94 Pan-African movement, the big conference, came here, and I became friends with the boss then, Dr. Tajuddin, also passed on, and he taught us so much about Pan-Africanism. So it was Rasta beyond reggae, you know. So to understand where it all started, you know, the Marcus Garvey movement and all that. So it was music and the whole Rasta movement thing came together. Then '95, I think Andrew Gasira was bringing Lucky Dube. At the time, I'd been with the Hope Mukassas, watching them bring Chaka, all the Congolese were coming. Then Andrew took it to another level. I didn't know him, but Dr. Tajuddin did. So I think Doctor told him, you know what, if it's reggae, you're bringing Lucky Dube, just get somebody from here to be the host.
Okay.
So they contacted me. So when Lucky Dube came in, Andrew was, you know, not in the picture. I was in the picture, which was a good lesson to me too. So press conference, you know, I remember Kainda Otafide was there, Nobo Mayombo, and all these. Those Nobo was still actually I drove with Nobo in a very old car from planting the tree at Freedom Square, which was pandemonium. There were thousands of people. Lucky Dube was huge.
Yeah.
I drove Nobo, I remember, from there to the Pan-African office. He was still just a card, I think.
Okay.
So we sat with them, with all these Pan-African guys and Lucky Dube, and so the bug kind of started then, because I said I wanted to do this before. Then '95, still, Andrew contacted me and said, you know, I want to get another group, UB40. So I told him that's very expensive.
Yeah.
But by then I'd established networks with my friends in England, you know, because I've recorded in England too. Reggae, people were big in reggae. So I said, that's one. So I said, okay, fine, that's one. So I helped him do the link. I flew to England, I met the group in the studio recording, and you know, even them, I'd written to them actually, and they told me, yeah, we got a letter some time back, blah, blah, blah. I said, that was me. So as what came, that happened. In '96 is when we started doing the promotion ourselves,
Yeah.
you know, with Angenoa and did Shaka Dimas and Pliers. Because Andrew was very thorough when he was doing his shows. Andrew went to Nile Hotel Gardens at the time, and he measured all the, like the grass, like every blade of grass.
Yeah.
Andrew was scientific the way he did his shows. So he knew exactly how many people would fit at Nile Garden to the T. So you knew that every blade, you know, every person covers this blade of grass when they are seated or when they are standing. So he had all that mapped out.
Okay.
He had done a research too on which artist to bring. He had a whole survey.
That's interesting.
Number one was, I think, UB40. Then closely there was Lucky Dube with Shaka Dimas and Pliers, like that. So he had a whole thing scientific. So I said Shaka Dimas and Pliers, you know. So that's when we started.
Yeah.
I was 24 years old then.
Who topped it for you, amongst all the artists that you've brought in this country?
Nah, everybody has a different. Because for me now it was a Pan-African issue. That's why when I used to bring them, we used to do tours, you know, take them to South of the Nile, Bujagali, and so many places. So to each and every one of them, it was emotional, you know, and people can't really understand it, but like the Jamaicans, they just hear about all these things. You know, for them it's like going to heaven. They went to heaven by coming here, because the 400 years they've been, you know, their ancestors were taken. So they sing about it, but they hadn't come here. So each one of them, you know, watching them, collecting water, soil, putting it in the bottle, taking back home, you know.
They would do that?
Oh yeah, when you're here you think it's pointless, but for them,
Yeah.
it was like they actually went to heaven, you know. So it was for every, you know, right up to the jazz artists. Everybody lives here, never the same. They're never the same when they go back. Each one of them, I've seen everybody. I've seen Karen White say it, I've seen Shabarang say it, Buju Banton, as everybody I've seen who have brought here, most of them, never the same again.
What about you?
For me, it's all these things I do, I'm not really paying attention. I don't pay a lot of attention at all. I just go, you know. So it's not about me, you know.
They didn't change you to the level that you're speaking about then?
Not really. What changed me was what I saw. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
That's when I realized what my job is. The cosmic system decided that our children who are taken, you have to bring them to come and learn something about Africa, you know.
Okay.
That was my job. I'm
Let's-
still doing it.
Okay. Let's talk about the impact that it had on the music industry here.
You know, when we used to do shows then, it was the people who tried to lift the game were like Mick Stallions, Hope came with equipment, a proper studio, proper studio, like international standard. You know, Sabrina's Pub, it was a platform where, you know, Hope started all this stuff. But as far as events go, we didn't have equipment, you know. Stage, Andrew spent a fortune. Because I remember Rocco built the stage for Lucky Dube. There was nobody had trussing. There was no trussing in Uganda. People were using scaffolding. All these things did not exist. So all the shows were really, you know. Then Andrew kind of changed it. Screeners at the show. We even used to put it on the poster. There would be giant screeners. That was a selling point. I mean, now you can't even put that on the poster. You know? It was unheard of. Andrew freeing a team of people from England to set up all that. Cost a fortune. That was the start. Well, after Andrew did it, nobody else did it. Because it was madness. Because most promoters were businessmen too. So I said, no chance. You know, I need to make money. I decided it had to be done, you know. Well, I think I didn't decide. Whoever is in me decided that. Because I just went like a bull in a china shop. I just do stuff. So we hustled with bringing in equipment from abroad, lighting from South Africa, pushing desks onto the plane from England. It was just to do a show. It is so easy now, you know. But then,
Were you getting the money back?
no, you know, no, I wasn't. You know, I was, and I still didn't stop.
So where were you getting the money? Was it from the sponsors, and then
Actually,
that was
we didn't have sponsors then. They were beginning. It was just starting. So I had the same sponsors: Pepsi, Nile Breweries, Malibu. Before it became UBA, it was just Malibu alone. Uganda Orange. They were different. And they used to come on board, British Airways or Alliance Air, or they used to come on. But like I said, once the system decides that that's what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do, and you find a way. Even if you pick money, if you're working home and pick $10,000,
Yeah.
and I've seen it many times. You know, so if you're chosen to do something, you have to do it.
Okay.
I've seen it with my own father.
Speaking of your own father, there's something consistent with you and your father. Even during the interview I did with him, he kept mentioning spiritual. Since we started this interview, you kept mentioning spiritual, spirit, chosen, system. What kind of spiritual person are you?
The thing is, you should be careful what you name your children, you know, because they become, when your grandparents, whatever, give you a name, names have meanings.
Twegumye, Zaake.
Names have meanings, so you shouldn't just name people.
Okay.
That's why it had to be a senior person to give a child a name. You can give a person a name that messes up their entire life, because you don't know where the name came from. So me, the names my dad gave me are his names. I'm the only one who gave his names. So we have too much alike.
So away from Shaka, let's first forget about Shaka. You're Mayanja.
I'm the only Mayanja-Nkangi after Mayanja-Nkangi on the planet. The others maybe by marriage or whatever, but birth certificate, I was the first, you know. Actually, I was the first even before him, because before he wasn't Nkangi. Nkangi is our ancestor. He was Mayanja Sibacharwayo. That was his name, Jehoash. After university in Oxford, I think he added the Nkangi bit. So it became he put Mayanja and a hyphen. It was very creative. So it's like one name. He's the one who made it one name. He was like me, he had swag, you know.
So back to spiritual and how
but that's what I'm saying. His names would, you know, he was a short guy. I'm a big guy. But my father never cut his hair too.
Yeah.
He never cut his hair. I don't cut my hair either. And it's not because he told me. You know? So there are so many things that happen that we're alike.
Okay.
So from the day he's never like asked for a job. He was given jobs all through his life. That's why he kept saying that it wasn't me. It wasn't me. You know, God this and that. You know, his life has always been like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So are you?
I don't think there's been a person who has attained the highest office in the land as young as he was. He was only 33.
when
you
he
know?
became Katikiro.
And he still worked to his dying day at 85. You know what I'm saying? He was still doing his work that he was given to do.
Then why are you retiring?
He was doing his work until the dying day
And you?
and went to the grave without a penny to his name. Now, do you know how many years he served? 50. No penny. He left nothing. Nothing but his name. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he was chosen to do that. Maybe if he had access to be a wealthy guy, maybe if he was diverted to that, he wouldn't have done that job. You become content, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Back to you.
same to me, you know, I do the work, I have to do the work. Even when I made that statement about retiring, he said I couldn't retire.
Who said?
Him.
How did he say that?
It's a long story, but just know he did. Because he said and said,
Did he speak to you
yes.
in a dream?
Yep.
And he told you you're not retiring?
He didn't say in so many words, but
Yeah.
he said he enjoys dancing to reggae music. I enjoy music. Have this music. Listen to it.
In the dream?
Yes.
So you're not
It was
retiring?
the day he said it. And he was in his suit, and everybody was surrounding there and saying, but this man, you know, everybody knows him to be a nice and cool, you know, cool guy. And he put the music and he jumped on the table and started dancing. And so I was thinking, well, everybody was saying, hey, but Mr. Jabba, this one. You know, so my message was, well, if he can do that when everybody doesn't, he thinks, oh, it's this cool guy. Then, you know, somebody wants me to continue the work, you know, so I have to do the work somehow.
So you're taking it back. You're not retiring.
Well, I'm not as active, but I still have to do the work, you know.
Back to the spiritual question.
Yes.
What kind of spiritual being are you? The Christian, Anglican, saved, or there's so many spirits.
I've been all that before, very young. Actually, at one time, I thought I would be a preacher, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When I was very young, when my TL was about 81, you know. So I've grown around that.
So what
I've
are
seen
you?
everything start. I've seen all these churches start from our house. You
So
know that?
what are
Night
you?
prayers,
Yeah?
our house, 1980. Before there was, you know, all this Walokole thing, it
Yeah.
was just the Kawempe movement. And growing up in Kabinja, we knew there was Zokufu, you know. All our grannies were Zokufu from Kawempe, short hair and the proper Walokole, you know.
No makeup.
Not the new ones. The
Yeah,
new ones are
proper
destructive. So I grew up in all that.
So what are you now?
So, but I grew out of it, just
Okay.
like I grew out of the Rasta movement. I've been a Rastafarian for years, but I graduated. I moved out of it. It led me to where it was supposed to lead me, to open my eyes to something. And I'm glad that even my father, like the last 15 years of his life, he had started seeing other things too, realizing that there's more to what we are told, you know.
Really?
Yeah. So me, I'm a vitalist.
Who is a vitalist?
And the vitalist is what the Western world called animist.
Okay, you're continuing
Okay.
to confuse
Every one of us,
Yeah.
where we come from, if the indigenous people in the world are animists, what that means is that our forefathers believed that everything has a spirit. Every creation has a spirit.
Okay.
Stones, metal, all this. Okay? Everything has a spirit. Plants, animals, insects. So they had a respect for every creation. You know what I'm saying?
Like, probably.
Lakes, rivers, streams, forests. Everything was sacred because it had a spirit. It has a spirit. So what those people kept saying, those people worship trees, those people worship, that is erroneous. Those people respected trees. Because that tree gives life. You give life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what animism is about.
Yeah.
That there's a superior being who put everything in place. But how do you get to that superior being? It is through the creations around you. Because you're minute. There are 400 billion stars or 400 billion whatever, you know. You know how many this is the universe, but how many planets exist? They're still finding planets. So me, it's like a speck of dust. If there are 6 billion people and 400 billion stars, and there's this being that created all that, come on.
People say that person
have
is
no access.
God. They have an answer.
Well,
they say
I
it's
don't
as
believe
simple
in
as
that concept.
No.
I don't believe in the word because I don't know what it
Means.
What it means. I don't know the genealogy of that word, G-O-D. I don't. I don't know where it comes from, but I know what Tonda is.
Tonda.
I know what Katonda is. I know what Omutonzi is because that's in my blood, my lineage. Okay?
But
my parents, my ancestors, everybody knows that there is Tonda who made everything. That's what I know.
Okay.
God is God, Tonda is Tonda, Allah is Allah, Jehovah is Jehovah, they're all different.
Okay.
That's what I know from my spiritual journey because the Muslim says there's no God but Allah. There's only one God, Allah. There's no other. So does the Jew. Says, who? Allah? No, there's no God but Jehovah. What does that mean? The Hindu says the same thing about Shiva. The Bible says, my children of Israel, do not worship the other gods. So that Jehovah knows there are other
gods.
Thank you very much. So here, me as a Muganda from the whole lineage going to Bunyoro Chitara and back to Atembuzi, I know what the creator is, but what's the word? Okwemanyeza. You cannot okwemanyeza that force. So what do? You go through a process for your prayers to be answered. So you go through a lineage. That lineage goes back right to creation. The first person, the head of my clan, is Namugera. There are 44 Namugeras before me.
So those are the ones you go to?
Because those people know who the creator is because they were not given birth to by mom and dad. They were created, they're not born.
Yeah. So you go through them.
You have to
get your prayers answered, and then they reach the other person.
Thank you.
The higher
like
power.
The elder told us, if you want to understand traditional spirituality, read the Bible. You know, because the Bible, the Bible spills it out. It says, listen, from the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, they to teach the Qur'an.
Yeah.
In the Bible, that's what it is. So Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham, they mean nothing to me, but to the Jew who comes from them, it means something. Me, I have my own. Okay.
And those are the ones
they have their 12 clans. We have our clans here, so they do their thing.
But
we do their thing.
Many of us have decided to forget about them.
Well, you will wake up one day.
Yeah. Okay. You're still watching People and Power. As we go to break, have you always been big, like a big person?
Yeah. Well, I've not this big, but I've always been bigger than my peers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I was very active still, football and riding bikes and all that.
Yeah.
I'm a fit person.
You are?
Yeah, I'm fit.
Doesn't your weight at times get uncomfortable?
I can manage it.
You can?
Oh,
Has it ever brought you problems or any issues?
Very healthy. Doctors are shocked.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. So you keep mentioning football even throughout the interview. Isn't that a career you would have wanted to
That was my dream at one time,
Then what happened?
I grew up around footballers from childhood. All the senior players that you've ever heard of, especially Villa.
Which ones?
Paula Sule, Higenyi, Sulakato, you name it. Godfrey Katerega, Yusuf Sonko, Rogers Nsuga was a very good friend of mine. He's in England now. Sam Mobiru, Twahashi Vumbi. That whole crew. Patrick Kawe. People used to think Patrick Kawe was my dad.
Because you were always around
I was always, even at the Villa bench. I used to be at the Villa bench. And I was a kid, P7, S1. Going, to Wikwe to watch matches. I used to take French leaves from Budo to go and watch football with senior, Robert Aloro. We used to escape from school with them. I was in S1, they were in S4, S6. I was a rebel. Still am.
Was that during the time of the Bush War? Because we
No, this
want
is
to
after.
know where you
now,
were.
this is 86. It was still kind of, 86,
What do you remember about the Bush War?
I mean, even in school, in primary, I mean, even the 79 war, I've been through all these wars,
Yeah.
And then we didn't know, our parents, they were under pressure. We didn't know we were kids because they used to be involved in politics. My dad is a very clever guy. He just became a lawyer and did his own, he went back to his profession, no more politics. So we didn't grow up a lot around too much. You could notice some things like, but the bullets were flying, but you're a kid, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you grew up and you see people dying and all that. So we see, even after the 86 war, jumping over bodies, our friends were telling us it was incredible. We watched all that unfold,
Yeah.
you know.
And most of it you were in school?
No, the 86 war, we were at home. 85 military coup, I was right in the mix when it started. Because I was actually at Chambogo, going to play tennis. I used to play a lot of lawn tennis too.
Yeah.
So I remember when they killed the Musa Kasule kids, that family, when they mowed the whole family down, I was 100 meters away.
What do you mean?
Like Chambogo, the football pitch, I was going to around 11 a.m. And Chambogo has those trees, there's so many trees between the pitch and the road. And they just had like bullets flying, They just took cover in the grass. So after it died down, I went home, 11 something, and I found my dad and my brother around the radio listening. At the time there was only BBC Africa, Focus for Africa, and they said there was a military coup. But I had the first shots kind of, only to hear that the entire Musa Kasule family was mowed down. A love thief of some sort, or some jealous man, or these were like common stories. I mean, whole family gone. Our next door neighbors, whole family mowed down. I could hear all that. Went to the house, saw the blood, the bone marrow, smelt it all. Just one guy survived, and was my football friend too. We used to play football with him a lot. And he was kind of disabled a bit. He had one leg shorter, but he was an incredible footballer. He's the one who survived. Even animals, goats, chicken, just there, Chambogo, opposite First Technology, near there. So I saw all that. But, you don't take it in then. But it's tattooed on my brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
People and power. This episode belongs to Shaka Mayanja. Let's take another short break. We'll return shortly.